Now let's be honest, everybody wants to hit a big ball, and it doesn't matter if you're driving at 200 yards right now or 300 yards right now. One of the easiest ways to pick up strokes, to get to the par 5s into, to have short irons into par 4s, is to hit the ball farther. So adding 20 or 30 yards to your drives would lower your score as quickly as anything out there. Now if we're going to hit it far, there's no point in working on anything else until we can get the hips moving correctly. So the very first piece, and what I was told kind of growing up and what was kind of in vogue, what was popular then, was to keep this right knee really flexed, not let that move at all, and I'm going to keep that flex all the way in the backswing. Now when you do that, that ends up locking up your hips a little bit. Very difficult to get your hips to rotate unless you're super flexible, which I'm not, you're probably not. You're not going to get those hips to rotate very much keeping that knee locked. Now the idea there and why it was popular then is because that's going to help you to get this big stretch between your upper and lower body. Well, that's great in theory, but you can get that same amount of stretch if you go ahead and let your hips turn. You're still going to just get more shoulder turn. The distance between your hips and shoulders will be the same. You're just going to wind up a whole heck of a lot better. So getting that right leg to go ahead and straighten up, getting those hips to turn in the backswing is one of the biggest distance keys that you can have. So as I set up here, instead of keeping this right leg locked like this, a lot of flex in it here, I'm going to go ahead and feel like in my backswing that leg can straighten up. I want to go ahead and let my knee straighten this way. Now when you're looking at this, what that ends up doing is it allows my hip to turn back behind my body. The more my hips turn, the more power I can get. We're looking from down the line, you're going to see the same thing. Now it's not a sway, it's not this. I'm turning my hip. I imagine somebody had a rope tied to my hip and they're standing back there. They're pulling that rope and getting me to turn. Look at this big hip turn now. Now I'm going to make that big backswing like a Justin Thomas or Davis Love III without even really having to think about it too much, even if I'm limited a little bit in my flexibility. So that's piece number one. I want to make sure that in the backswing, I get those hips to rotate. Let's go ahead and try one out here. I'll go ahead and give it a good rip, make that big, free, big hip turn in the backswing. There we go, hit that one pretty hard. And I really felt like on the backswing, I gave myself plenty of time. Again, don't rush this. Give yourselves plenty of time to let those hips turn and then come on through to a good full finish. Now piece number two is I can't get a big hip turn and then just stay back there, right? I don't want to get this big hip turn and then just stop on my downswing. I want to get that big hip turn and then on my downswing, I want to get my hips to open from the down the line view. That's what a lot of people call the two-cheeker, meaning that when I come to contact, you can see both cheeks here when you're looking from behind. Now, that's exactly what all the great players have. That's what all the pros have. But again, a lot of this comes down to what you're doing with your knees. If my knees stay square to the target in my downswing, like a lot of players, what I'll do is I'll stand up, I'll flip this club, and my hips won't rotate very much. So that would be kind of square knees. What I want you to feel like, these knees are kind of like a piston. In the backswing, here's my right knee, here's my left knee. In my backswing, my knees do this. As this leg straightens and it allows my hip to turn, this leg comes forward. So this leg's going that way, this knee's going back, this knee's going forward. In the downswing, I'm doing the exact opposite. My knees are going that way. So again, this right knee is coming forward toward this camera. This left knee is straightening and getting out of the way there. I want to see a little space in here as my legs come through to allow my hips to open. That's the only way you're going to get the two-cheeker, is if you get a little space in your knees coming this direction. So in the backswing, think you want a little bit of space, meaning that as I turn, I should be able to take my golf club and put it through my knees there and have plenty of space. In the downswing, as I come through the shot, I should be able to take a club and do the exact same thing. What we want to guard against is locked right knee in the backswing and then a stand up. In both those cases, I wouldn't be able to put a club. My knees would be in the way of each other. I wouldn't be able to slip my club through there. So let's do a few practice swings now where I feel like in the downswing, my knees do this and I really get opened up as I'm coming through there, just like we're seeing with the pros. So we've done a few back swings. We're gonna do 5 or 10 reps in the downswing and then really commit to getting that good full finish as you swing on through. There we go, hit that one great. Now once we get those knees moving properly, I'm gonna have the power now. If I let my body load up and then unload, I have the potential, I have the power hit some big tee shots. One thing that this is going to help a ton with, and what almost every golfer I see gets wrong, is releasing the club in front. So even on a driver, if I was to choke up on this driver here, most of the time I'll see players stand up, lock their knees, and then they flip with the driver. So when I would be contacting this golf ball, and this is really important here, this is something that I see every single golfer would get a whole lot better at golf if they get this one thing right. So if I lock my hips, I lock my knees, I stand up, and I flip, meaning that in relationship to my forearms, this kind of triangle between my forearms and my shoulders, my club is splitting my forearms already when I'm at contact. All the best players, doesn't matter if you're hitting a driver all the way down to a pitching wedge, what I see the best players doing is opening their body, the driver is lagging behind, and even at contact, because their body's angled back, the driver may be straight up and down, but it's on the front side of that triangle. And it doesn't actually split the forearms until in front of the contact point, in front of the golf ball. So they're never really releasing this driver until out in front. Now, if I get my knees moving properly, that sets me up in a position to where I can release this club in front. If my knees move improperly, I have no other choice but to flip it too early. That's what I call the straight line release. Now let me play a preview of a video, one of the best videos on the straight line release, and let me talk about this, because if we can get these two concepts, you can get your knees moving, get your legs moving, get a lot of power in there, and then you can learn to release that power in front of the golf ball instead of at the golf ball. Man, that's a pretty daggone good golf swing. So I'll play a preview of that video here in just 1 second. All you need to do is go ahead and click the link, the card that pops up on the screen. If you don't see that card, don't worry about that. Go down below to the description below this video, click the link down there, and you'll get instant access. So let's pair up this great hip turn, this great hip movement, with now releasing the club out in front, and it's gonna look like the majority, or pretty much all the pro swings that you see on the PGA Tour. Let's go and get started. A common misconception I see is that we want to create lag, and we just want to hold that lag all the way on through contact and get as much lag as we can coming through contact, and that's simply not true. In the release section, we're going to talk about how to turn that lag into energy, how to turn that into speed so that you can hit it very far and do it, like we mentioned, without hardly any effort at all. And as we're coming through contact, we're going to fully release this angle as we're about 45 past contact. So if I draw, a 45-degree angle, I should be looking at both arms, nice and straight, the club splitting those arms, so that by releasing the club, by getting this angle to release as we're coming through contact, that's what's going to create the speed. Our hands are moving a very short distance, our club is moving a very long distance through contact, and it creates that whip-like effect. Very different swings hitting the exact same position. So first let's take a look at Dustin Johnson, releasing the club 45 past. And the reason we're going to see such different swings producing similar positions is that this is the real physics of how this has to happen. Here we're looking at Sergio Garcia. Again, we're going to see tons of